Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. We're just going to let everyone trickle in the event, and then we'll be getting started shortly. Great. So as everyone is joining in, let's briefly go over some ground rules. And again, thank you so much for joining us for today's event. So we may be posting periodically within the chat. However, you all today, our attendees, will be utilizing the Q&A feature once our presenter from New Student Programs has finished their presentation. So just please keep in mind to hold off on your questions until the very end, okay? In addition to that, if possible, after the presentation is done, you can then put in your questions, and just keep in mind that not every question might get answered today. However, you can always reach out to both New Student Programs as well as us over here in undergraduate admissions anytime after the event. All right, we have lots of very useful information that we're going to go over today, and it looks like we have lots of participants joining us in as well. So furthermore, I would like to introduce our wonderful presenter, Nikia Finley-Drago, Interim Director of New Student Programs. So thanks so much for joining us, Nikia, and you may take it away now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amelia. So like Amelia said, my name is Nikia Finley-Drago. I use she, her pronouns. And I have the privilege of serving as the Interim Director for New Student Programs. A little quick snippet about me. I am a Stony Brook alum. Some years ago, I won't tell you how many, I was in your shoes, getting ready for my own orientation process. And getting really excited to join the Stony Brook community. So we are beyond excited to have you all here and to give you all some information about what your orientation experience will look like, because they have evolved over the years, so very different from what I have, but I think you all will still get that same feeling of being a Seawolf and feeling like this is your place. So let's get started. All right, so by now you should have done a few things, right? So many of you, so the population of students that we're talking to right now, we're talking to all of our students. We're talking to our first years, our transfers. Within those, we're talking to our international students. And for the most part, everyone pretty much does some of the same pre-orientation things. So by now you should have paid some of those deposits, unless you are exempt from those via a waiver. That is very, very, very rare. So you'll know who you are if that applies to you. No one is exempt from our orientation fee. So you all should have paid your orientation fee by now. Completed your new student preference form in Solar. That really helps us just to start getting some foundational information about you. And then finally, setting up your net ID. You will use your net ID over and over and over again, from your orientation experience to your classroom experience, to really all things that have to do with your time here as a Seawolf. So I'll focus on first years for now, and then I'll transition a little bit into transfer students. So for our first year students, both populations have a checklist. You can find that checklist on our website, stonybrook.edu/orientation. So this is just a little quick summary of what's on that checklist, but definitely make sure that you do check out our website for more specific due dates and links to all things to help you get ready for your time with us. So in general, making sure you accept that admission. I assume many of you wouldn't be here if you hadn't already accepted your admission. So it's a great first step. First years, submitting your UGC preference form. Those were due. A lot of the information that we'll start talking about has a past due due date. But again, if you haven't had a chance to submit it, the sooner you do, the better. So completing your UGC preference form to be placed into one of the 3 first-year undergraduate colleges. Confirming your communication methods in Solar. We really need to get to know, we really need to know how to get in touch with you. So making sure that the email that you have on Solar is correct. Our default is emailing your Stony Brook email address, but just in case, we also like to have a backup. So making sure that that secondary email that you have is yours and that you are checking it daily. Updating your phone number, updating your mailing address, and then finally updating your physical address as well. Those are absolutely critical for you to do so that you are getting all kind of communication from us, not just an email. If we need to call you, we want to make sure that we have that phone number ready and available. I mentioned setting up your net ID. So that's going to be, again, one of those pieces that you'll go to, one of those logins that you'll use a lot. In conjunction with your net ID, you'll also be setting up your Duo two-step login verification. More information on that was sent to you in an email, as well as also on our website, of course. Completing all of your health forms, and I emphasize all because there are a few different health forms that we do require for our students to complete. So making sure that you complete your immunization forms, you do your measles, mumps, rubella, MMR confirmations, and then of course your general health form. There's also just a general health form that you also need to complete. We'll go over what those dates look like in a moment. Completing your advising planning form. This form, like your new student preference form, it's all under in Solar under the new student folder. The advising planning form is open after you complete your new student preference form. And that form allows us to know some academic information about you. You know, you are here to be students, so we want to make sure that we are setting you up to succeed and start your first semester off well. In conjunction with that, the next few things also help us start your academic career off well, making sure that you complete all your placement exams. We'll talk about that a little later as well. Submitting your AP scores and transferring any college credits that you have, making sure those go directly to Stony Brook University is critical. For my first year students, once you officially graduate high school, congratulations, by the way, making sure that you submit your high school transcripts once those grades are posted, working with your high school counselors to make sure those get to us. On Solar, you have a few different holds that are on there. One of those I'll highlight is our own orientation hold. That hold is connected to our online orientation, our Seawolf Foundation's online orientation. So that is one that you can complete now, and technically was due 2 days ago. But you have, again, there's a little bit of flexibility there, but the sooner you do, you know, the one less hold that you'll have on your account. But there are some other holds on there that we want you to make sure that you address. Completing that part 1 of our Seawolf Foundation's online orientation. So that really gives you, you know, pardon my corniness, it gives you a foundation as to what we think you need as a student. So if you learn nothing else from our orientation program, that online program really gives you some of those basic things that you need to start off well. So there are a total of 8 modules that you need to complete through that. Modules 1 through 6 are the ones that you need to complete first. Almost done with the checklist at least, and then we'll go over some more details. Uploading a photo for your student ID, our campus card office will send you all an email informing you how to upload this photo, what kind of photo to upload, because we still want it to be appropriate. So long gone are the days where we surprise you at your in-person orientation and ask you to take a photo. Fun fact, I think I still have my student ID card. I do, my own student ID card. Luckily, I did my hair that day, so hopefully you all will do the same, you know, post for your photo, make sure that it's one that you'll like to remember for 4 years, because that'll be your ID card for the time that you're with us. And then finally, self-select a Seawolf Connections workshop. For my first year students, we'll go over that a little bit more, but those are available in the month of July. And I believe we sent those out either today or yesterday. So please make sure that you're checking your email to sign up for those. All right, so I talked about some of those forms, some of those things, transcripts, things that you need to send to us, as well as with some dates that, you know, I started highlighting some dates. So really for my first year students, many of you were admitted well before May 1st and committed to us by May 1st. So we gave you about a month to complete some of these things. So please make sure that if you have not done them, you do them as soon as possible. We know that for some of these forms, they're a little harder to get, but things like your advising planning form really need to get done sooner than later, so that our advising units can make sure that we get you set up and ready for your courses. Things like your health forms are also critical. We want to make sure that our students are coming in with all the prerequisites that we think they need in order to be healthy while on campus. And then, like I said, with those final transcripts, AP scores, things like that, as soon as you have a grade, as soon as you check College Board, as soon as you are checking your checking in with your high school advisors, make sure that those grades are being sent immediately, as soon as you can. We want to make sure that there is no delay in your advising process. And to make sure that there's no delay, you all really have to make sure that you're sending in those critical things. So like I mentioned, that advising planning form, it tells us more about you academically. It helps us know what you need for your first semester. So it lets us know that you still plan on majoring in that major that you applied for, what kind of things you're interested. Do you want to be pre-health, which includes being pre-med, or pre-vet or pre-dentistry, things like that. Let us know what you want to do. Pre-law is also a pretty common pre-professional program. It lets us know some unofficial credits and AP scores that you might already have. Again, still really need those official scores in transcripts. And then it also gives you information about your placement exams. So you're actually not quite signing up for them, but you are getting more information about those exams. Speaking of those placement exams, we have 4 placement exams for our first year students. And again, this information that I'm talking about is strictly for our first year students. So students who have never been in college before. Taking a college class before you get your high school diploma, that is important, but you're still a first year student. So my transfer students, please do not follow this portion specifically about placement exams. And I'll tell you what your process will look like a little bit later. But my first year students, those of you who are the class of, what year are we in? 2021, class of 2021, you're about to walk across stages if you have not already. This is important for you to know. You must complete all of your placement exams, placement assessments, placement tests, whatever new name we've come up with for them, you must complete them by June 16th. Absolutely critical that you complete them by June 16th, so that by the time that we start providing you with your first semester courses, we know that these are complete. These are already in the books. We know what's happening, and then we can also follow up with you all afterwards as needed. So all exams, everyone has the same date, June 16th. All of those exams have to be completed by. There are different ones. So math, taken by most of our students, it really gives us just a foundational assessment of where you need to be. What kind of math course do we need to put you in your first semester if you're taking math? Chemistry, if you intend to be in any kind of chemistry course, if you intend to be in any kind of science major, chemistry is typically that first science course you take. So I know this sounds a little silly for particularly like our bio majors. I started off as a biology major. My first question was, why aren't I taking biology my first semester of college? Because chemistry is really that first course that sets you up for all other sciences, for some of our sciences. So absolutely critical that you're completing your initial portion of our online chemistry placement process. Writing is a little bit different this year. So most of our first year students will take some kind of writing placement. If you did not submit SAT or AP or ACT scores, you will likely need that writing piece. Again, these kind of things will be, you'll get to know them whether you need them or not on that advising planning form. It'll give you a lot more detail about, do you need to take it? When do you need, June 16th, by June 16th. And then it'll tell you how you'll log in and take those exams. And then our foreign language, also taken by many of our students, but really the requirement for our foreign language really is for students who intend to do a foreign language major. So those are our primary students that take it this early. You can really take that foreign language exam pretty flexible. That's one of our more flexible exams. But if you do intend to be a major in a different language, you will need to take that. Your advisor will make sure that you take that exam. Again, due date, June 16th, right? Everyone has that date put in their brain, June 16th, I have to complete all of my placements. All right, so our new Seawolf orientation process for our first years, I talked a lot about all of these already, but I want to drill it back into you all. Our Seawolf Foundations Online Orientation Part 1, that you all can do now. You can do that right now. You have access to it. Guess how you sign in? With that net ID and the net ID password. So make sure that you've already set that up so that when you do sign in, you'll be ready. You'll get right into it. You won't have any issues, hopefully. We highly suggest using Google Chrome as your browser. Sometimes other browsers get a little wonky with the login. So definitely want to make sure that you are trying as many browsers as you can before giving up. We don't want you to give up. It is important that you complete those. Seawolf Connection, so those are our small groups. It allows you to connect with a student leader. Our student leaders that you'll be working with this summer and throughout the year are called peer assistant leaders, or PALs. Again, I'm a pretty corny person, so I hope you lean into the corniness with me. So your PALs, you all will self-select those dates that you'll join about a 2-hour conversation with our PALs. And really, that's an opportunity for you to ask questions directly to another student. There is nothing better than asking another student what their experience was like. I would be happy to share mine with you, but that was as many years ago as I'm not telling you, right? So, we want to make sure that you all get connected to current students, as well as the new students that'll be in there with you in those small groups. Your advising and registration process, that will be started by your academic advisor. So the information that you provide us on that advising planning form, your major, what courses you might have transferred in, your academic advisor, your undergraduate college advisor, or your if you're in any specialty population, so undergrad, so our university scholars, our honors college, women in science and engineering, our athletics folks, and anyone who is in the education opportunity program. Those folks will start getting you ready for what your first semester looks like. And then they'll start reaching out to you all on a more individual basis once they're ready to have you complete your first semester schedule. So many of those registration workshops where you'll work with another, either another PAL from my office or with an advisor directly, those will happen in the month of July. So really important, check your emails all throughout this summer. And then finally, to really wrap it all up, get you all as hyped as possible to be a Stony Brook student, we will end our summer, begin our school year, kind of that in-between time, with our new Seawolf Welcome Week. We are super excited to offer a week-long of programming to you all. It'll be one of the things that our Vice President for Student Affairs calls this is it's kind of like a cruise ship. We're gonna have, I started doing some of the math, thousands of programs for you all to participate in throughout that week. So you all get, a nice little tasting of all the things that are offered on our campus. And that'll start on August 16th, and it'll head all the way to August 22nd, with the first day of classes being August 23rd. So within that time frame, that month of August, we'll also launch that last part of the Seawolf Foundation, so that part 2, modules 7 and 8, so that you can, finish up your foundational information. And then by the time you hit our welcome week, you all are going to be excited, welcomed. It's going to be, I'm going to be honest, it's going to be a week long of partying from my office. And we are so excited to have you. We want this campus to feel like your home. So get ready. This applies to my resident students and my commuter students. We want you all here all week, engaged, having fun, having a great time, while also learning about all the great things offered to you all. All right, so talking about that academic piece that I had talked about with your advising planning form, your advisor will help kind of get you set up. These are just some sample first semester schedules of some things you might take in your first year. So based off of these 3 majors, like I said, I started off as a biology major here at Stony Brook. So this is actually pretty accurate as to what my own schedule looked like. Actually, I think this is exactly what my schedule looked like. I took a writing, I had my 101 seminar, I took chemistry lab, I had a math course, and then I think I took a sociology course in my first semester, which ended up being my major. I can talk about that another day with you all. But these are kind of the general templates of what your first semester schedule will look like for our first year students. Oh, there was a little effect on that. Sorry about that. All right, first year students, I don't want you to tune out, but I do want you to, like, you know, take a seat back, get your questions ready to ask in the Q&As. My transfer students, this is where I need you all to now listen and focus in on what I'm saying. Many of the things that I said before that apply to our first year students still actually apply to you all. So our transfer orientation checklist looks pretty similar to our first year one, except your due dates are entirely different. So my transfer friends, again, accepting your admission, confirming those communication methods. I'm going to emphasize this even more for my transfer friends, because there might be moments where we really do need to call you. So we need to make sure that your email and your secondary email are up to date. Your phone number is up to date. And then for all of our students, we do plan on mailing you a sweet surprise. So hopefully your mailing addresses are also accurate, because that's how we'll pull your mailing addresses for when we send you something. Is that, I don't know if that's cryptic enough, but we plan on sending you stuff. So make sure that your addresses are up to date. Set up that NetID, you'll use it all the time. Anything you could probably, if you're not logging into Solar, really you're using your NetID for everything else. It really is your access to all things, as well as setting up that duo authentication. It's just another layer of security that we want to make sure that it's you who's logging in, not someone else. Health forms, again, absolutely critical for you to complete. Immunization, your MMR forms, as well as just your general health forms as well. Completing that advising planning form, again, it lets us know, in that advising planning form, lets us know a lot of critical things about getting you ready for your first semester. Placement exams, I'll go over those a little bit shortly in terms of due dates. No, I will not. So I'm going to tell you right now. So that fun chart that I had for our first year students that said, you know, everything's due June 16th, that is out the window for our transfer students. You all have very specific due dates based on what your advising unit has advised. You know, they have very specific dates that they need you to have your placement exams completed by. So whether that's math, chemistry, writing, or foreign language, you will have received an email specifically from our folks who are advised by our academic and transfer. I never do this right. Academic and Transfer Advising Services Office, ATAS. They will send you an email that specifically tells you what you need to complete and when it needs to be completed. Same with our folks who are fall within the College of Engineering and Applied Sciences. So those two advising areas will tell you specifically when your placement exams are due. Please make sure that you complete it within that time frame. If you need more time, if you have questions, respond to the emails and they'll get back to you as soon as they can. So back to this list, submitting your college transcripts. We know that many of you come from at least one, college you're transferring over, but all colleges that you might have attended, make sure every transcript is submitted. And same goes for whenever you take APs, Regents, as well as your official high school transcript, make sure those are coming over as well, and that we have those in our system so that we're not advising you incorrectly. It's really critical that you get all of those foundational things in so that we can get you set up the best as we can for your first semester. Resolve any solar holds and make sure that you're doing those again in a timely manner. Many of those holds might prevent you from moving along in that advising process, so making sure that you clear those out. Review general education and major requirements. As a transfer student, you all come in with really unique places. So every single one of you is unique. Every single one of you has is coming in with very different courses, and we want to make sure that you all are prepared for your advising portions, and that you've done a little bit of your own homework, and you kind of have an idea of what you need to complete in terms of your Stony Brook curriculum, your major requirements, any minor requirements that you might have, second major, like look and see, make sure that you know what you need, and that you know what your courses are coming over as well. And then finally, that piece that I had mentioned, making sure that you upload your photo for your student ID. Again, our campus card office will reach out to you all, and give you specifics on what angle you need to be at, how much lighting, things like that. They'll give you those details, as well as when they are due. And then they'll also, we're still figuring out a distribution method for you all, but likely you'll pick those up during our welcome week. All right, to be redundant, we like consistency in our office. We know that the content for our transfer students in our first years are different, but really we want to make sure that you have foundation, you have connections, you get advised, and then you're welcome to our university. So everyone gets a pretty similar package. The content now is different. So our transfer students, we treat you very differently than our first year students. And that's no shade to either community. We just know that for our transfer students, our conversations need to be a little bit different. Our advising needs to be a little bit different. But our foundational information, all of our students get the same foundational information. Whether you've been to college or not, you have not been to Stony Brook. Stony Brook is very unique. I've worked at many different colleges now at this point in my career. And Stony Brook's resources and access to things is very different. So we want to make sure that you have that foundational information. Now, my transfer students, we know that you all haven't been admitted at the same time, the same way our first years are or were. So I say June 1st, but really what I mean is within 2 weeks of your acceptance and deposit, you need to complete our Seawolf Foundations Online Orientation Part 1. So if you were just admitted, let's say a week ago for our transfer students, you have about another week to complete that foundation, that online foundation. So please make sure that you are going through that and getting that ready, and completing that within a timely manner. Our Seawolf Connections, make sure that you're signing up for those. Those are for our transfer students, taking place all throughout the month of June. We have them at all kinds of times. So we have them early mornings, late evenings, in the middle of the day. The only caveat is that we still only run Monday to Friday. So please make sure that you are finding times that work best for your schedule. These are required programs and workshops. So please make sure that you are selecting a time that works best for you. And again, it gets you connected to our transfer students. We talk about ways that you can transition from your other institution to Stony Brook, or from time off to Stony Brook, or wherever your starting point is. We want to make sure that you are coming into Stony Brook, and we recognize that you have a unique path to us. So and we want to connect you with other transfer students as well. Advising and registration, I talked about this a little bit earlier. Your advising unit will contact you about your advising and registration. Please be patient. For all my students, practice patience in this summer. We are expecting about 5,000 or so new students. So it takes a lot of work and effort to get all of our students at the same page, ready to start on day one. So please be patient with us as we prepare all the things for you. And again, part of that play for our transfer students, placement exams, please make sure that you all are completing them by the date provided to you. Again, all are different, all are unique. And making sure that you have completed all your holds before in a timely manner, so that we can get your advising and registration process started with no delays. And then finally, that Seawolf Foundations Part 2, that'll launch August 1st, module 7 and 8. If for some reason you all already have access to those, please do not complete them until after August 1st. That content is not applicable to you all. There is a note on there. Sometimes it glitches and allows students to complete it before we actually launch. So just keep that in mind. And then finally, our welcome week. Same for our transfer students. This still applies to you. We do have specific programming for our transfer students, that, you know, to get you all acclimated. But again, we're running a cruise ship of excitement. So you've got thousands of programs to choose from for that week. So we really hope that you all enjoy what we provide to you. But we'll send out a lot more information about our welcome week close to August. All right. For those of you who have some family members who are also taking a listen, or anyone who you consider your support system, this applies to them. So we have a program that's specific to our families and supporters. We've got a news e-letter that goes out monthly, and we have specific resources to all those who help our students be successful Seawolves. You all are also part of the Seawolf family. You all are proud Seawolf family is what we call you. So please make sure that you all are also checking out our resources and getting engaged. Like I said, our e-newsletter goes out monthly. We have an awesome new website that has information for our families from really from admission to orientation, all through our graduation. So if you have a question, definitely make sure you're checking out our website, and it'll provide you with all kinds of things that you might need. We also have a specific email that's for our family. Again, all of that information is located on our family website. Again, we know that students not that they can't, students don't always do this on their own. So we want to make sure that you all are just as supported as we can provide. My international students, if you are on this Zoom as well, you all are looped into all the things, right? So we do not separate you, at least for our June and July programming. We don't separate you. We want you included in our Seawolf connections that happen in the month of June and July. We want you to complete all the other things that we need you to complete. You are part of our advising process. You do not have a specific advising process that's different, that's particular for our international students. You're a Seawolf, so you are part of our full Seawolf orientation. Now, what is slightly different for you as an international student is that we do have part of our welcome week, we do designate specific programming just for you all, and you'll get more information about that, again, via email. It's also on our website, but that Monday and Tuesday of that welcome week, so August 16th and 17th, we will have specific international student programming for both our first year and transfer international students. So please make sure that as you're booking flights, you are keeping that in mind. Your move-in time frame is a little bit different for the rest of our students. If you are planning on living on campus, or if you're commuting, just remember August 16th and 17th, you will have a very specific international orientation that'll happen during that Seawolf welcome week. You'll still have access to all the fun things that are happening, but you do have some specific things. That's when we'll really get you acclimated to our university, to sometimes a new country, sometimes a new state, sometimes just a new part of New York. But either way, we want to make sure that you feel like not only is Stony Brook your home, but really Long Island is your home. All right, and that was me. That was my shtick. That was my office. That's all the things that we do, all the ways that we collaborate. We are new student programs. We do your orientation. Our phone number is 631-632-6710. Our email is orientationoffice, all one word, @stonybrook.edu. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. @NewToSBU is our handle. We also have a Snapchat if you'd like to utilize it. But really, follow us on Instagram. That's really where we post a lot of our content. We also, we tweet on occasion. We could be better at it, but our Instagram is full of information for you all, as well as introduces you to our staff. So please check us out on social media. I'm going to pass things back over to Emilio to start off our Q&A.
Great. Thank you so much, Nikia, for that very thorough and awesome presentation. We have tons of questions from our many attendees with us today. So let's get right started. All right. So it looks like the first question is if you can just go over what those dates are for orientation. It looks like someone is asking, do we have an actual date for orientation?
Yeah, so there's not one date, right? So it's our orientation is again, pardon my corniness, it's part of my blood, it's what I do. And you're about to have an experience is what we're selling to you, right? So it's a multi-part orientation. There are different things that are part of your orientation. So our Seawolf Connections is really like your first date, right? The first date that you'll be working with someone in our office. Your next date would be, anything that has to do with your advising and registration, all part of your orientation process. I didn't even mention this. Oh my goodness. We also have Seawolf Q&As, which are different topic-based conversations, kind of like this one, kind of like what we're doing right now, where we pull in different offices. So paying for college, that's one of the topics we have. We pull in our financial aid office to kind of give you a run through of how are you going to do this? It costs money to be here. To how to be academically successful in general, tutoring, things like that. So that could be another date, another few dates that you'll self-select again. And then really the next chunk of time that you'll spend with us is that welcome week, August 16th to the 22nd.
Perfect,
So
thank you.
Three dates that you'll have to really focus on. But one of them is self-selected, one of them is assigned to you, and the other one is our welcome week.
Awesome, and all of these are communicated, correct?
Yes, check your emails daily. Get ready for it. We are sending out a lot of communication to you. We know it can get overwhelming, but please make sure that you're reading through them. Make sure that you are checking out our checklist. There's an opportunity for you to download your own checklist and write dates in, put in things. So definitely make sure you're checking out your email.
Great, and on that note, I did see another question within the Q&A. So it looks like some students are just wondering, should they be checking their Stony Brook email at this point or their initial email when they apply to the institution? Or maybe
both. Check both of your emails. There will be a time where we flip over and only communicate with you via your Stony Brook email. That usually happens by the time you register for your first course. But right now we are sending you information to both. We know that, you might not have set up your Stony Brook email yet, so we're still sending it to the one that you applied with. But we know it. We know your Stony Brook email. It's pretty much created a few days right after you're admitted. So we have access to it. So check both. Absolutely check both.
Perfect. And I know you mentioned earlier on regarding photos for student IDs. It looked like we had a couple of questions in regards to how can they upload those photos. So if you could just reiterate that.
Yeah, so our campus card office will email you directly. I think their timeline is within the next few weeks to get that email out to you all. They're still setting up the system to make sure that they can take in all of your photos, but they will send you an email. Again, check that email. They'll send you an email with all of the information that you need to know and due dates, hopefully before the end of the month. And if that's wrong, send me an email, orientationoffice@stonybrook.edu. And we'll get you that information. But like I said, they will send you, again, direct email telling you how to access the portal to upload that.
Perfect. And it looks like we have another question here. So during the online orientation, I did a report IT course. They printed the certificate as well as the drug and alcohol e-checkup test. And it looks like this student is just wondering if they have to submit the completion of these tests elsewhere.
Nope. As long as you've completed them, I see them.
Okay, perfect. All right, we have another question here that's come up a few times. If you do bad on the placement test, how does this affect you?
Great question. There is no do bad. There is no do bad. It's at your level of knowledge, right? So we get it. Sometimes you're just not having a really particularly good day as you're completing this. I will also say our placement processes are all online, so do them at your own comfort in your own time frames within, of course, our due date times. But for example, I'll give you an example. Our math placement assessment, as soon as you hit the let's get started, you've got 2 days to complete it, right? So take your time, take as much time as you need to complete it. But really, if you don't know the content, you don't know the content. That's it. You will stop when you are done knowing that knowledge, and that'll tell us what you're ready for. It'll give us a base of what course we can place you in. So what we don't want to happen is you to think that there is a magic number or a magic thing that you need to complete in order to be in this other magic course. That's not true. We want to make sure that when we are ready to put you into a math course, that you know the foundational information. If you first, somehow went through all of the modules, I don't actually know if they're modules, but all of the sections of the math placement and somehow placed into a level 9. I don't actually know if they go that high, but you place into the highest level we can. And we place you into the hardest math course. If you're not ready for that math course, that sends off a red flag for us of, well, then how did you do so well in your math placement assessment? So do as well as you can, and that'll tell us what equivalent course you should be in. The same goes with our online chemistry course. There is an initial assessment, but that one is a couple of hours long as well. And then there's also part of that is a preparation course, so that prepares you for your first semester of chemistry. And imagine that as kind of a prep course. It is a preparation. It's a prep course. So that's an additional few hours for you to take. But again, that tells us the level where you are at, and lets us know that when you start your math course, your writing course, your math course, your chemistry course, your writing course, correct too, and then again your foreign language, if applicable to you, that you are starting with a foundation that you already know. So there's no doing bad, it's just doing you. Pardon my casual language, but you'll be where you are meant to be.
Perfect. I think you answered really a ton of questions there. So that's great. It looks like we have another question here. When do we meet with our advisors? And I know you mentioned that briefly.
Yeah. So it depends. It depends on who you are. Are you a first year student? Are you a transfer student? If you're a first year student, you will be assigned to an advising workshop in the month of July. More information about that will come to you a little later. So that you'll be assigned to. You'll have an opportunity to kind of talk through the courses that they've already pre-enrolled you in. So again, some of those major courses, some of those courses that are a little harder to be flexible with. So like math and chemistry, if you are a science major, there's only so many of those that we have that are available. So we want to make sure that you get those courses locked in and those are yours. So in that enrollment workshop, you'll also have an opportunity to select some of the Stony Brook curriculum courses. Those are the additional courses all students need to complete. That'll happen in the month of July. For our transfer students, your advising appointments will happen in the month of June, possibly bleed into a little bit in July, as well as August, depending on really how quickly you're able to complete your own placement assessments and exams, how quickly you get in your transcripts, things like that. Like all the things that I've told you need to get in, those impact when your advising and registration appointment are. But for the most part, those will happen this month, in the month of June, possibly in July, possibly in August. But June is when we'll start for our transfer students.
Perfect. So definitely more to come.
Yes.
We have another question here. So for those students who may just be a little bit confused or are having trouble locating and finding those modules, we do have some questions here about where can they find these online modules.
Yeah, we take pride in our website. We take real pride in our website. We think we made it pretty navigate. I don't know how to say this word. We think we made it simple to navigate. So if you go to our website, stonybrook.edu/orientation, we have tabs full of content for you. So there is a first year tab. Within that first year tab is information about your summer orientation and just orientation in general. Transfer, same process. International, same process. Family, same thing. Information about all things to do with those specific populations. There's a tab called online orientation. So that is where you'll click to get into that online orientation, as well as we have a new Seawolf Welcome Week, I think is what we called it. I haven't looked at it today, but I think it's new Seawolf Welcome Week that also has information about, dates for our final process, our final time with you.
Perfect. And so what happens for those students who did not pay the orientation fee yet? So apparently we have some students who are stating on the website, it might state that they have until July 1st. Is this true? And what's that timeline really look like?
Yeah, so we know that not everyone is admitted around the same time. So really, and even that July 1st date is kind of it's up in the air. But really what we want you to do is make sure that you secure your orientation fee, if as early as you can, so that we know that you're ready to go through our process entirely. Really, this provides us with an opportunity to give you all the resources that you need. So this supports your advising process, this supports your Seawolf connections, this supports your new Seawolf welcome week. So really, the sooner the better. July 1st is really kind of just our general date, knowing that not all of our students are admitted by June 1st. And really, the same can be said for a lot of our due dates. July 1st is really when, if you don't have a lot of those things in, you are severely delaying your process.
Okay, perfect. And I know you brought up earlier in the questioning to just do your best when it comes to these exams, and that it's really meant to help place students in the right curriculum sequence. We do have some questions here. So specifically for the chem placement exam, but I'm sure this can go for all exams. If they don't know a question, is there a way around it, or should they just skip through it?
So I am not an expert. This is where I know basic, right? I know as basic of information as I can. This is where I really encourage you all, take a look at our website. Under the first year in transfer tabs, there is a section for placement exams. Under placement exams, there's one for chemistry, and they have their own website, and it has a full FAQ section. Definitely make sure that you're checking out that FAQ section. I do not want to give you false information, so I will not answer that question, but I will tell you, access that via our website, via the online chemistry placement preparation and process website. Perfect.
All right, looks like we have another question here. So this student is stating, for this year, AP scores are only being sent out in July. Since placement exams are due on June 16th, will I be able to get credits for the exams I took?
Yes. So we are fully aware that AP scores come out much later than we'd like. If we could have them come out a month ago, we would have. So depends on how well you did in your APs. So we will place you in courses based on, which is why we tell you, just take your math placement, take your chemistry, take your writing, take your foreign language if applicable. Take these so that we have a baseline. If you haven't, if you know that your AP score is a 4 and it's the self-reported score, we'll work with that. But really, we need a foundation, right? Like, we need something that's more concrete so that we can, again, make sure that you are in the correct course. If for some reason, your math score was higher than your AP score, fantastic. That means that your math level, you have that foundational knowledge that allows you to take a higher course. You can work with your advisor to talk through what those changes in course might be. Like, maybe that's not the right course for you then. So, we can talk through what is appropriate, but really, we'll start with your placement exams to get you into those courses, to get you started without a delay. But yeah, you'll talk with your advisor, email your advisor. Each advisor is, at least for our first year students, all of our advisors are split up within your undergraduate college. Each undergraduate college has their own email address. So make sure that you're communicating with that email address, because you might not know specifically who to contact at this point. But at least you all should at this point, I think, know your undergraduate college. So you can start emailing that email with any questions that you might have. But really, moral of the story, take your placement, assessment, exam, tests, take them all. Do them, be ready. Everyone is special. We know, we love that you're here, but don't assume you're the exception to the rule. Please don't Don't assume that and then be left behind. We really want to make sure that students are not left behind in terms of getting you ready for that first semester.
Perfect. And so I know you just went over how to access those, the online orientation if students are just finding out about that now, but it looks like we have some students who are concerned if they're just finding out now about the online orientation. One, will they still have access? And two, will this affect registration or any other part of their onboarding process?
Yeah, so no, it shouldn't. Again, it's foundational information. We want to make sure that you have access to it. You'll have access to it after, for the next four to however many years you're here with us, 2 to 6, 2 to 8, however long, ideally 4. So you'll have access to it for as long as possible. But no, it does not delay your process. We get it. We know that sometimes, there isn't just a delay in when you all get things. So that's why we don't always give you a super hard concrete date. Sometimes it's a little bit more flexible than others, but really, as soon as you can complete your online orientation, you will feel more secure about your place here at Stony Brook. You will feel like you understand what to expect, because we really do give you, we put a lot of content in there. We give you a lot of information for you to, again, I'm corny, for you to have a foundation.
Perfect. So on that note, we do have a question about the first year Seawolf connection. Is this a mandatory event, and is this considered in person?
It is required. It is mandatory. It is not an in-person event. It is a Zoom event, because we know that we have so many students coming from everywhere. We can't assume that you will be able to come and join us for 2 hours. We are an accessible campus and university, and you can feel free to come visit us. We'd love to meet you, but the Seawolf connections are all online. The only in-person events are our new Seawolf Welcome Week.
Great, and we just had a question about that too. Just going to bring that up next. What does Welcome Week compose of? Yeah,
so it composes of some more information, content. Yes, in the chat, it's the cruise ship of excitement. It's programs that we think you'll like to get to know Stony Brook, but also, we're partnering with everyone on campus. Truly, it is a campus-wide event. We are asking our friends in admissions to share their own personal knowledge, right? If Emilio really likes to knit, we want Emilio to knit with you all. I intend to do a program on Black girl hair care. Maybe with some giveaways. Like, we want to make sure that you know people. We want to make sure that you know who the campus is. We are more than just the roles that we serve on our campus. So I am more than just the interim director of new student programs. I have a whole personal life outside of this role. Emilio has a whole personal life outside of his role. So that's part of it. But we also just have some really important information that we just generally have to share with you. So how to be a Seawolf, right? That's not something that all students know. So we have some programs designed to help you transition into your classroom, to actually be in a classroom for the first time on our campus. We have some programming around diversity, inclusion, diversity, equity, and inclusion. We want to make sure that when you come to campus, that you know the ground rules, right? That you know some of the language. Why do I have she, her in my Zoom title? Because I want you to know what I want to be called. And we want to give you that foundation that might not be something that all students know. So we want to give you some foundational and critical information. And we generally just want to welcome you. We want you to have a good time. We want you to feel like this is your time. And this will be your time, just your time. We won't have our returning students coming onto campus until that following weekend. So you'll have the campus to yourself. We want you to take advantage of it. Take advantage of being on a campus built for 26,000 people in any given day with just the few thousand that you all are. It's large, but this is your time to get lost throughout campus and find your spot, find your little niche, find where the Starbucks is, find where you can, look at turtles on campus, find where your favorite place to eat is, find where your classes are before the hustle and bustle of day one. So really, it really, I'm excited for it because this is the first time we've ever done a full week. But in the past, we've done a weekend, and we've welcomed you all, and those have been exciting. And I can only imagine what my energy levels will be like for 5 days. This is me 5 o'clock at the end of my workday. It only gets higher. So imagine me 7 days all week. It's that level of excitement that we're hoping that you'll get from us.
Perfect. And, I'm really super excited for Welcome Week as well. But just to reiterate, what are those dates for Welcome Week? Is every date
Absolutely.
mandatory? And then also a follow-up question to that is, will Welcome Week will it also cater to commuter students and international
Absolutely.
transfer, all populations as well?
Yes. It truly will cater to all, including even our graduate students. Any new Seawolf, this is for you. This week is for you. So our first year students, transfer students, international students, athletes, special populations, non-traditional students, our commuting students, you are half my population. I would never do something without you all in mind. So our commuter students, everyone will be here that week. It is for you. Now, we will have specific dates for you. I'm not going to tell you those dates quite yet because we're still working it all out. But we will have events. The only true firm dates that I have for you is that it will happen August 16th through the 22nd. My international students, you will have programming on the 16th and 17th. For everyone else, we will let you know specifically which dates you need to be at specific programs, and then what the rest of that week looks like. But we'll have programming that whole week. I'm not kidding. We are talking about programming from 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. We are thinking of all things that you can do all day, all night. And we really want you to be here and enjoy it, and really, again, take advantage of being the only students on campus. It is rare. It is rare for us to ever have one population of new students on our campus at any given time, and this is your time.
Perfect. And I know we're getting close to the ending here, but I did want to bring up this last question that's come up.
Sure.
Several times here, but it's in regards to the orientation fee or the orientation hold rate. So if that's on students' Solar account and they completed the online orientation already, is there sort of a time frame as to when that would be removed from their accounts?
Yeah, so if the orientation hold is still on your account after you've completed modules 1 through 6, email our office because it should have come off automatically. But you might have completed it before technically you were a student in our eyes. So that might still be on your account. You might have completed the same day that the hold went on. And if you did, it's not off. It's not going to come off. So we have to take it off for you. But really, as soon as you complete module 6, that hold should come off of your account pretty immediately. So if it doesn't, email our office, orientation office at stonybrook.edu. It's in the chat. And we'll be able to remove that for you within about 2 or so business days.
Perfect. Well, we are at that closing time. I just would like to thank you so much, Nikia, for joining us over here in admission, giving such an amazing, thorough, and enthusiastic presentation here about the online orientation and everything else in regards to the onboarding process. We do have tons of questions here, so if you were not able to get your questions answered, please feel free to reach out to new student programs as well as us in undergraduate admissions as well. It was a pleasure having you all here. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you so much for attending. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Send us an email. We can't wait to see you. Welcome to the Seawolf family.